Good evening, Castro Valley High School students and families. Welcome to our second annual virtual Back to School Night. My name is Blaine Torpy, and it is my great honor to serve as the principal of Castro Valley High School. Back to School Night is such an important event filled with energy and excitement. In years past, I have loved seeing thousands of family members walking from class to class on a warm September evening. Please know that I miss seeing you all here. But being virtual not only allows us to prioritize community safety, it has the added benefit of providing access to many families who would not otherwise be able to attend. Having students on campus has been the greatest gift. They have done an amazing job of following the safety protocols, being gracious to one another, and taking advantage of being back in person. We continue to face many challenges as a community and beyond. But that is why it is more important than ever to appreciate how fortunate we are. Being here with you now is a gift, and it is my good fortune, and I'm so glad that you made it. While we are nowhere near normal in the world, CVHS is back. All of our resources are here for students and then some. The Wellness Center is up and welcoming students through its doors. We have so many people there to support students in so many ways. Sometimes it's just a quiet place to read a book. And speaking of books, the Cvhs Library is open with an incredible selection of online and real-time resources. Trojan Time is back. Twice a week, students have opportunities for support during the school day. Our after-school tutoring is ready to welcome students who need extra support. Athletics, activities, and more is in store for students. Trojan Togetherness is about learning in an environment that supports all students. Our central mission is to provide your students with the best education possible in a safe and positive atmosphere. We are committed to students and their well-being. The transition to being back in person has not been easy, but it has been so worth it. Let's not forget that for every challenge we face, there is a new opportunity ahead. We have done so much together. We have shown that we are a community of resilience, compassion, and care. We are a community of learners, and we are lucky to have one another. Before I introduce Dr. Fields and the rest of the administrative team, I want to remind you to check out the Back to School Night directory for the links to see your teachers and meet your teachers. And on that note, I'd like to invite Dr. Fields to introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Tracy Fields, and I'm so excited that you're here with us for our 2021 Back to School Night. I am the assistant principal for House 1, and if your last name begins with A through EP, then I am your House AP. So next, I'm here to introduce Mr. Kevin Baker, House 2 AP. Have a wonderful night.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Baker, Assistant Principal of House 2. My alpha's right here for your reference. And I just want to echo everything that Mr. Torpy has shared. We're all really excited to have students back in person and to have a real learning community, a vibrant academic and fun learning community happening on our campus 5 days a week. It makes all the difference to have students here in person, and we're able to reconnect with students that we knew before. We're able to get to meet all sorts of fresh faces, and it makes school what it needs to be. And so we're happy for that. And I'm going to now introduce our House 3 Assistant Principal, Miss Bridget Luna.
Hi, I'm actually the House 3 Assistant Principal, Mr.
Whoops.
Henry, and I'm doing LIN through ROS. Thank you, Mr. Baker, and I'm super excited to be the House 3 Assistant Principal. I just transitioned from being the band and orchestra director for the last 9 years here at Castro Valley High School, and super excited to be working with all the students here and looking forward to the work we're going to do back in person. So here I am dishing it off now to the House 4 Assistant Principal, Mrs. Bridget Luna.
Hi, Castorelli community. My name is Bridget Luna, and I am your House 4 assistant principal, and that is alphabet R through Z. I can't wait to meet you in person, and I'd like to give you one little tip for the year. I hope that you really encourage your students to join a club or two this year. It's a great way to get connected to our community and to learn new skills and make new friends. Next, I'd like to introduce you to one of the coolest guys on our campus. Why is he cool? Because he's got 2 jobs, not just one. He's our athletics director and an assistant principal, Mr. Fortenberry.
Thank you, Ms. Luna. My name is Chris Fortenberry. I'm an assistant principal and an athletics director. I am looking forward to everybody coming out to our first football game next Friday. Woohoo! Go Trojans! If you're participating in sports, please come see me. Not just because you participate in sports, but you want to be active on campus. Come see me. I can direct you to clubs or sports teams or programs that will fit your personality or character. Welcome to this school year.
Thank you, Mr. Fortenberry. And on that, I would like to introduce the Alameda County Youth Poet Laureate and amazing CVHS student, Zoe Dorado.
Hey everyone, my name is Zoe. I'm in 11th grade. Thank you, Mr. Torpy, for the kind introduction, and admin folks for inviting me this Thursday evening. So the poem I'm about to share is something that I wrote back in May called We Breathe. Lola lifts murmurs at a morning breath, breathes out her skeleton from her leather voice, stiff, yes, but smooth also, because isn't this how you wake? Waiting to pick up the body from sleep, Lola sifts through the of her house to go leave for mass. She asks if I too want to wake up at 7:30, and maybe I'm only half holy since I stopped going to church years ago. So now, Lola leaves alone and half-mast, because I caught myself from asking her to stay home because streets sometimes carry a tethered breath, because maybe it's always been like this, lying in wait, because rates of anti-Asian hate crimes are up 164% since a year ago, since they rose by 283% in San Leandro, and since yesterday, an 80-year-old Asian man was attacked there by a group of Black and brown boys, bearing one who held 1 year more than me and another holding 1 more than my little sister. They were 11 and 17. Sit and watch it all happen through a screen dim lit and heavy, the one I hold in my hands, who cradle so many names until they drip down to dirt. And so I try to dig out the dogma that seeps through the bone marrow of our blood, which is another way of saying I'm pissed, which is another way of saying violence between communities of color didn't begin with this, didn't begin when Peter Liang, a Chinese-American NYPD cop, shot a Kai Gurley, a 28-year-old Black American, or when Vilma Carey, a Filipina-American, was walking near Times Square and was attacked by Brandon Elliott, and the security guards watching it happen from inside the lobby chose to close the door. And isn't that another form of violence? The way we wedge our bodies inside our own diaphragm so we can curl our shoulders in, look down, so we don't have to call the blood our own or our fault, because we didn't breathe the same air as that person did, like we didn't carry a weapon in our mouths, tuck it in and strategically whistle it out through a spit of tweets, convince communities to call their neighbors other, call them contagious, call country and continent a disease, paint a red X across each other's backbone and ask ourselves how it got there. America, my immunocompromised country, the way you cough out bloodstained anatomy pointing to each mouth, body, and look, see where it all leads. How you are both the soil in my Lola's garden, the soil she sows seeds in, but also the dirt resting 6 feet under that buries Black and brown bodies, how you hold them in your roots, the ones that wound themselves through the branches of arms and legs until they decompose and become the foundation for what you grow. When I say our histories are intertwined, what I mean is that we breathe the same air, the kind that country claiming other country left, the kind white supremacy left, but also the kind that circulated the Philippine-American War in 1899 when Black American soldiers chose to fight alongside Filipinos, the kind that uproots colonialism through collective activism, the kind I called out for ethnic studies in 1965 during the Third World Liberation Strikes, how the work isn't finished yet, how we go to the streets when one of us falls, how we hold ourselves gently, but also hold ourselves accountable and do the same for those around us. Which is another way of saying this country needs to call itself out and call itself in, because country means breathing in unison, or at least being willing to share the same breath, to breathe the same air, placing our hand to chest and belly, bringing in the space we cleave to keep each other away, the space that typed in otherness instead of our names. So instead of that, I pay homage to the names of Black and Asian American activists and organizers, to Audre Lorde, Grace Lee Boggs, Fran Beal, Gwen Patton, Yuri Kochiyama, Loretta Ross, Pat Sumi, Miriam Ching-Yun Louie. I pay homage to the teachers and bus drivers and healthcare workers like my mom, to how we keep each other safe, to the Isang Bagsak we clap to cradle our singular exhale in, the United Farm Workers Union of Filipino and Mexican immigrants passing on this singular breath, still breathing, still alive, still Lola waking up in the morning, still her body aching and tired, still our bodies aching and tired, but what is work without movement, if not the willingness to catch and receive and pass on this breath, if not us breathing ourselves in like instinct. Thank you very much.
Lola, that was beautiful. Zoe, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Very powerful. And if there's any question out there about how amazing students are, then Zoe, you just answer that question. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here for our quick address for back to school night. Pretty soon, you'll be able to join your 0 period classes. And then first period starts at 6:30. So say hello to your teachers, ask questions, tell your students to get involved. And remember, Poetry Month is in April, so we will be back for more all year long. See you again then. Thank you, everybody.